Tell me about yourself.
I'm a DevOps engineer with 4+ years of experience in automating infrastructure, implementing CI/CD pipelines, and managing cloud native applications, mostly on AWS. I enjoy solving complex deployment problems and improving system reliability. I'm particularly drawn to Amazon's focus on innovation and customer obsession.
Tell me about a time you failed.
I once automated a deployment pipeline without thorough testing, which caused a production outage. I took full ownership, rolled back safely, and implemented a new process to test changes in staging. It taught me to prioritize, earn trust, and insist on the highest standards.
Describe a time when you took a calculated risk.
In a previous project, I proposed moving our monolithic app to Kubernetes. It was risky due to lack of in-house experience. I started with a proof of concept, documented the process, and trained the team. It improved scalability and reduced deployment time by 40%.
How do you deal with ambiguity?
I approach ambiguity with curiosity. I ask clarifying questions, gather data, and start with small, reversible decisions. For example, when given a vague goal to improve performance, I broke it down by profiling services, identifying bottlenecks, and delivering measurable improvements.
Describe a time you had to earn trust.
When I joined a new team, I proactively helped solve long-standing issues and shared knowledge openly. Over time, the team started relying on me for critical deployments, which helped build trust organically.
Have you ever disagreed with your manager?
Yes, I once disagreed on choosing a deployment tool. Instead of outright rejecting the suggestion, I gathered performance benchmarks and suggested an alternative with clear advantages.
Tell me about a time you improved a process.
I noticed our deployment process was manual and time-consuming. I introduced a Jenkins pipeline with automated tests and notifications, cutting deployment time from 40 minutes to under 10 and reducing human error.
How do you prioritize tasks under pressure?
I list tasks by urgency and impact, communicate openly with stakeholders, and focus on business-critical items first. In one incident, a failing service needed immediate rollback, while a planned deployment was postponed.
Tell me about a time you invented something.
I developed a custom monitoring dashboard integrating CloudWatch, Prometheus, and Slack alerts. It reduced response times to incidents by 30% and helped non-technical teams get visibility into system health.
Describe a situation where you went above and beyond.
I once stayed overnight during a major outage, coordinating with multiple teams to restore service. After resolution, I wrote a detailed postmortem and led the effort to automate root cause prevention steps. Answer:
Technical, cloud, DevOps specific questions. How would you design a scalable system on AWS?
start with decoupled components using S3, SQS, and Lambda. Use ECS, EKS for containers, auto-scaling groups, RDS with multi-AZ, and CloudFront for caching. Design for failure with retries and backups.
What is your experience with infrastructure as code IAC?
I use Terraform for multi-cloud setups and CloudFormation for AWS native stacks. I follow modular design and version control templates for repeatability.
How would you secure an AWS environment?
Enforce least privilege with IAM roles chart policies, enable CloudTrail logging, use security groups, chart NACLs properly, encrypt data with KMS, and use guard duty for threat detection. And
What's the difference between ECS and EKS?
ECS is AWS native and simpler to manage. EKS is Kubernetes compatible, great for hybrid multi-cloud needs, but has a steeper learning curve. And
How do you handle high availability and disaster recovery in AWS?
I deploy across multiple AZs, use load balancers, RDS with multi-AZ or Aurora Global DB, and backup data to S3 with lifecycle rules and replication.
What is a VPC and why is it important?
A VPC is a logically isolated network in AWS. It gives control over IP ranges, subnets, route tables, gateways, and firewalls, essential for secure, scalable architectures. And
How would you troubleshoot a high latency issue in production?
check application logs, CloudWatch metrics, load balancer health, and backend resource usage. I might use X-Ray for tracing or enable VPC flow logs for network analysis.
What's your approach to monitoring and alerting?
I set up dashboards with CloudWatch Grafana, set thresholds for critical metrics, and integrate alerts via SNS or Slack. I also implement log-based anomaly detection with CloudWatch Logs Insights or ELK.
How do you ensure CI/CD pipelines are reliable?
I use staging environments, blue-green or canary deployments, automated tests, rollback strategies, and artifact versioning. Pipelines are reviewed and tested like production code.
What is the most challenging project you've worked on?
Replatforming a legacy app to AWS using microservices, CI/CD, and containerization. Challenges included legacy code refactoring, team skill gaps, and ensuring zero downtime. We succeeded through incremental migration and constant learning.